Could a single wild boar cause tens of millions of euros in damage? It sounds unbelievable, but this is the reality unfolding every year in Germany. Cornfields are being torn apart, pastures devastated, and even residential areas no longer feel safe. These animals aren't just wild, they're getting smarter with every escape from a hunter's bullet. That's why today, John's hunting team has no choice but to take action. An ambush is underway, and every move must be flawless. Who will come out on top this time? Don't take your eyes off the action. The hunt starts right now. At first light, deep in the forests of southern Germany, hurried footsteps press into the dense woods. Without a word, the team quickly fans out, each member fully aware of their position and role. Every tense second passes with razor-sharp focus. John remains alert, holding his assigned spot. Suddenly, a faint sound breaks the silence. The wild boar has appeared. A crisp shot rings out. One shot, one kill. A cold and precise opening move that pushes back the destructive wild boar menace. Silently pushing deeper into the forest, John carefully weaves through the branches, every step measured and deliberate. It doesn't take long. A shadow flickers briefly among the thick foliage. The hunter's lightning-fast reflexes, honed through discipline, kick in. I hold my breath, finger tight on the trigger. The shot cracks like thunder through the woods. The beast falls silently, no cry escapes. It lies there on the cold, damp earth, ending any further threat to this place. As dusk falls and the fading light fades into darkness, John remains undeterred. His eyes stay sharp, scanning relentlessly in every direction. Then, the prey can no longer escape his keen scope. Boom! The crisp shot breaks the silence, ending yet another threat deep in the forest, and restoring the natural peace of this wild place. John's team returned to rest, preparing for a new battle on the vast fields the next day. At 6 a.m., they arrived promptly and quickly set up their positions. A completely new hunting strategy was put into action. John's small group moved toward the edge of the field, where wild boar activity was expected. As soon as they arrived, the scene before John ignited his fury to its peak. He poured every ounce of strength into each shot. With every pull of the trigger, a large wild boar dropped instantly. His years of hard-earned hunting skills were on full display, fulfilling his responsibility to protect the crops and ensure the peaceful life of the local community. In another corner, Leon's team witnessed a striking scene. A lone wild boar broke away from the herd, charging across the field still marked by the destruction caused by its own kind. One wrong step, and it paid a heavy price. The gunshot echoed across the open land. A decisive strike, no second chances given. What do you think of that move? Drop your comments below. The evening sun fades, and a chill begins to creep through the air. Each member silently retreats to the rendezvous point after a long, tense day. But John remains alert, his guard never dropping. Then, a wild boar appears, quietly grazing right within sight. The final prize of the day. A sharp, clean shot rings out, decisive and precise, officially closing today's hunt. Our mission is complete. I breathe a sigh of relief as my teammates and I gather the fruits of a hard day's work. This hunting trip has come to an end. The crop-devouring pests have finally been stopped. The victory belongs not only to the brave shooters, but also to the close cooperation between the farmers, local authorities, and the team's strong spirit of camaraderie. Once again, the hunters spoke at the right moment, and this time, they are the winners. We would be remiss not to thank the local community and authorities for their unwavering support and assistance. What did you think of this journey? Don't forget to leave your comments, share your thoughts, and hit subscribe so you won't miss the next heart-pounding ambush. See you on the next hunt!
I grew up among the vast fields of Texas, where wild boars have become the greatest threat to farmers. They don't just eat the crops, they tear the land apart. That's why I have to pick up my rifle, head into the woods, and hunt them. Not for pleasure, but because it's the only way to protect this land. When you're a farmer, you understand the value of every inch of soil, and you'll do whatever it takes to defend it. At first light, we began the hunt along the wooded edge of the pasture, right where the boars usually emerge to ravage the crops. We hadn't gone far when a wild boar suddenly burst out from the tree line, right into my line of fire. Instinct took over. I raised my rifle and pulled the trigger without hesitation. The gunshot cracked through the still morning air. One clean shot. The boar dropped instantly. Merrick's no amateur. Last season, he took down 9 wild boars in a single morning. His shots are always clean and decisive. This time was no different. When a boar wandered too close, it only took him a few seconds to handle it. "Easy as pie," he said casually, lowering his gun. That's the voice of a man who's faced down hundreds of wild animals. Our strategy is to keep moving. Staying in one place too long leaves behind human scent, and once the boars catch wind of it, they'll circle away. Merrick led the way, but suddenly stopped between two thick patches of brush. He signaled, and the whole team quickly spread out and held their ground. Not 2 minutes later, a flurry of gunfire erupted. A few dark shapes collapsed mid-run, boars caught in the ambush. After that intense standoff, the forest went silent again. The boars seemed to have retreated, hiding deep in the shadows. It took over half an hour before I saw them again, but the wait was worth it. Another pack emerged, moving quietly and slowly, unaware they'd walked right into our sights. From a high blind, Buster looked through the scope, zeroed in on the last one in the line, the least alert, and calmly pulled the trigger. One clean shot. The target dropped in seconds. Buster and I moved quickly after Merrick's signal. As soon as we reached the ridge, we heard rustling in the distance. Not one, not 10, but nearly 20 wild boars were charging straight at us. My adrenaline spiked. I reacted on instinct. Raise, aim, fire. Within seconds, one of them dropped right at my feet. Sudden chaotic, but chaos I've grown used to. As soon as we reached the area Merrick had marked, Buster locked in on a moving target. The boar was weaving quickly between thick trees, but that didn't faze him. He kept his sights steady. One sharp report rang out. Just one shot, enough to end the chase. The boar toppled into the dry leaves, never had a chance to fight back. It was a full day of hunting, grueling, intense, and full of heart-pounding moments. But that's life in the backwoods. Dangerous and not for the faint of heart. That wraps up today's hunt. Did this trip get your blood pumping? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more adrenaline-packed hunts. See you next time. Wild boar meat has long been the key ingredient in Dobic Sanglier, the renowned red wine stew from Provence and Corsica, France. To secure the freshest, most flavorful meat, there's nothing better than hunting it yourself in the wild. That's why we set off into the vast, untamed forest, where dramatic confrontations with wild boars awaited us. The forest morning was cloaked in a thin layer of mist. We moved deeper into the ancient woods, quietly spreading out to maintain visibility and provide support when needed. As soon as the dogs were released, they sprang into action, barking loudly the moment they picked up a scent. We rushed toward the sound of their agitated barks. There it was. Take a shot. A loud crack echoed through the forest. The boar was hit and dropped immediately onto the leaf-strewn ground. But before we could even celebrate, another group of wild boars came charging out. We kept firing, our rifles roaring through the trees. In less than 3 minutes, we had harvested more game than we ever imagined. Just as we caught our breath, a rustling sound came from the bushes ahead. Wait, did you hear that? I whispered, tightening my grip on the rifle. We froze, eyes locked on the dense foliage. Suddenly, another boar burst out. I raised my gun and squeezed the trigger. The bullet zipped through the air and struck it clean. The animal crumpled on the spot. Each step across the dead branches crunched beneath our feet, as if the forest itself was quietly watching us. Suddenly, a sound came from across the trail. I see it, I whispered, signaling to the team. I dropped into position and carefully aimed for a vital shot. But the gunfire shattered the silence. The boar jolted, then collapsed. Once again, calm nerves and sharp skills helped us win in the harsh wilderness. But I knew, tougher trials still lay ahead. It was already past noon. We took a quick break before continuing the hunt. Out here, we could never afford to let our guard down. Thankfully, our pack of hunting dogs was always alert. The dogs picked up a scent and quickly flushed a boar from deep in the forest, pushing it toward our position. The boars had nowhere left to run. They were forced to surrender to the cold, powerful muzzle of the weapons. We no longer moved in large groups, but split up, each man in a lookout post. Then, out of the dense canopy, I locked my gaze on it, finger resting on the trigger. But out of nowhere, another herd of wild boars exploded from the bushes like a sudden start. Shoot! Now, acted on instinct, firing immediately. After a quick burst of gunfire, one of the boars lay dead. As I returned to the rendezvous point, Chris was still engaged in a tense standoff with the boars that had just charged. Hunting wild boars for meat not only provides a natural source of protein, but also helps control their population and prevent damage to crops. That said, we always adhere strictly to conservation principles and local hunting laws. These are the rules we live by on every hunt. Wild boars, America's sworn enemies, have been causing devastating damage across the country. Every year, they inflict an estimated $2.5 billion in losses, destroying corn, soybeans, and vast fields throughout rural regions. Even worse, they carry diseases that pose serious threats to livestock and the fragile ecosystem. For me, the time had come. These destructive beasts were going to pay for the havoc they had unleashed. Before the hunt, our team carefully discussed and laid out a detailed plan. Determined to eliminate as many wild boars as possible, we packed our rifles and brought along the hunting dogs, heading toward a mountain near our small village. Once at the summit, we began sweeping the area. The distant barking of our dogs echoed through the forest, putting us on high alert. Rustling from a nearby bush caught my attention. I immediately raised my gun and fired. The first target dropped within seconds. A perfect start. Dante, one of our team members, received intel from us and quickly rushed ahead to intercept a fleeing boar. If our instincts were right, it would soon charge up this very trail. The boar burst forward, thinking it had found an escape route, but it was a fatal mistake. Before it could even turn around, a single shot ended it right there. Still high up in the mountains, we pressed on with our search. The dog's barking became louder, an unmistakable signal. Our hearts pounded with anticipation. Seconds later, a wild boar suddenly charged out from a bush. We quickly fired a series of shots and managed to bring one down. Unfortunately, another slipped away into the forest. To save time, we split up, each heading in a different direction to search for the boars. Alone in the vast wilderness with only a rifle in hand, I couldn't help but feel uneasy, but my instincts kicked in the moment I sensed danger. Bang! Through the haze of smoke, my bullet hit the target dead on, bringing the animal down instantly. Shortly after, I got a call for backup. Dante was pursuing a recently spotted bird. Our eyes locked onto the brush ahead, not missing a single movement. There, the boars rushed out without hesitation. One let out a piercing cry before collapsing on the inside. Just seconds later, another boar bolted past right in front of us. One more shot rang out, and the beast fell beside me. A clean and swift takedown. On our way back, the sudden, furious barking of our hounds jolted our senses. I rushed toward the sound, instincts on high alert. Oh my God, out of nowhere, a wild boar charged straight at me with deadly force. Luckily, I reacted in time, pulling the trigger and stopping it in its tracks. That shot may have saved my life. As the sun began to set, we started packing up for the journey home. But dusk is feeding time for wild boars, so we knew the hunt wasn't quite over. The sound of barking and gunfire in the distance made Jason pause. With years of experience behind him, he immediately knew a boar was near. The beast burst out with lightning speed, but Jason was faster. One deadly shot, and it dropped on the spot. And with that, we had one more victory to take home, ending the day on a high note. That's the end of today's hunt. What did you think of the action? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to catch more thrilling hunts ahead. Alvin and I have both been passionate about hunting since we were kids. We often go on weekend hunting trips together. However, after noticing the wild boar population increasing rapidly, we decided to join the local hunting team to help control this invasive species. After days of discussion and preparation, the official hunt began this morning. Our destination was a forest near Alvin's farm, just a 20-minute ride away. Upon arrival, after carefully observing the area, we spotted our first targets. I found a good position and took a perfect shot, taking down a wild boar instantly. Soon after, the sharp barks of our hunting dogs echoed through the woods. They had found a strong boar. As the two animals were chasing each other, Alvin quietly took aim and pulled the trigger. Unfortunately, the boar managed to escape just in time. Even so, another opportunity came. Although we couldn't take down the whole herd, we did manage to bring down a lone boar that had been left behind. Our next target was spotted by a friend of mine, and just a few minutes after he alerted us, he swiftly took down the boar with a clean shot. Eager for another trophy, I hid in an elevated spot, patiently waiting for the prey to appear. They came when the herd noticed danger and hesitated for just a few seconds. I calmly pulled the trigger and fired from behind. Thankfully, the bullet flew true and took down the target immediately. We reloaded and prepared for the next round. After about 5 minutes of waiting, the enemy appeared. I quickly aimed at the lead boar, locked in, and fired. After just a few shots, it collapsed to the ground. Another herd soon burst out from the opposite side. I immediately shifted my aim and fired at the new target. Once again, I succeeded in taking it down. We were still craving bigger monsters hiding in this forest. And in fact, with our sharp eyes and expert shooting skills, That goal didn't seem too difficult to reach. Although the wild boars tried to dart in and out behind large trees, they still couldn't escape our sights. From a distance of 200 meters, a volley of bullets was fired. Explosions ripped through the silence of the forest, quickly taking down several boars. A few drops of rain started to fall, but no one in our team was ready to stop. In fact, Farley and I were even more excited after spotting new targets. We quickly adjusted our aim and opened fire. The first boar went down. Soon after, a few others were wounded and forced to remain in the middle of the wild forest.